Do you believe in accountable love?
Welcome to Accountable Love, home of the Love Snobs, where love is a group journey. My name is Jerry.
My name is Aziz.
And today we have a special guest, Christine.
Hi, good morning.
Home of the Love Snobs, Love Snobs, Love Snobs. The Love Snobs have surfaced. You know, the people that actually use honesty to communicate. The genuine friends that refuse to let you feel sorry for yourself. Yes, those people.
You know, the friends that collect your tears every time life makes your eyes rain. The love snobs, the people that don't allow you to settle. Support your dreams, but don't support you sleeping with just anybody.
You know, the friends that are so judgmental they ask you to stay away from negative people and encourage you to surround yourself with positive people.
Yes, that friend. The friends that love you even when you refuse to love yourself.
You know,
the love snobs.
Go ahead, Jerry.
So we usually start the podcast off by asking the same question, which is, when you hear accountable love, what does that mean to you?
Yeah, so this is I know that Aziz is a little tricky here, so I have to be very careful on how I answer with him. So accountable love for me, I really think it starts with me, is being accountable myself, understanding what accountability means, how I would define it on my own terms, of showing up, saying what I said I was going to do. If I do something that's against the relationship, you know, being honest about it, coming to my partner, not making them come to me, and basically kind of like in short term, showing up.
Yes. So, you know, this is our third season of the podcast. And the first season, we talk about defining terms. Second season, we introduced the world to the love snobs. And this season, we're talking about being the adult in the room. So when you hear being the adult in the room, what do you think of?
I think of all sorts of things. First, I think of all the ways when I'm not the adult in the room. And then I'm like, oops, I've definitely been there. And then I think of what I am, right? So being the adult in the room, I think really just means kind of holding that grounded space, having a little bit more of an elevated perspective, right? So in my emotional body, but also able to see the bigger picture. And I think a lot of that is benefit of the doubt, letting people talk, letting people be heard. And that includes yourself, right? It's really easy sometimes for me specifically to hear others, but not necessarily feel heard myself. And so part of my being accountable and being the adult in the room is pausing and making sure that I'm heard too.
So would you say that in your relationships, you are more the adult in the room than not? Or do you,
Yes.
or is it like a even split? Like, what would you say the dynamic of your relationships are?
Well, I guess it depends on the relationship. So romantically, I think that depends too. Sometimes I'm the way more irrational, emotional one. And that sometimes just happens, right? And then sometimes, most of the time I would say though, I'm the kind of calm, cool, collected, like as long as we can talk about it, I'm okay with it. Like even if you tell me the worst thing in the world, if we can have dialogue, my emotional body will stay kind of in place. But it's more that like vying for the attention, having to pull out the information, all those kinds of things that tend to arouse.
Definitely.
Yeah, I
think
can
like
see
that. That's definitely the biggest portion of being an adult in the room is like having the goal in mind and making sure you keep everybody on task, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I would say, yeah, what you just described, you have been an adult, though you said you can, you know, be emotionally involved and sometimes not really take accountability for your emotional well-being. But for the most part, if you're focusing on the relationship and what triggers that emotion is the lack of the other person's accountability.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that, you know, in that situation, you're probably not, you don't want to have to be the adult in the room. You want an equal. And you're trying to pull that equality out of the person by actually challenging them to, you know, step up and do their part. So wouldn't necessarily say you wasn't being an adult in the room, but, you know, when you get fed up, sometimes, you know, you get emotional, and sometimes you're trying to pull it out of them, which still shows a form of, you know, leadership, and it shows that you're trying to be the adult still, even though you don't go about it in an adult way, you know?
Mm-hmm.
I know that.
Still driven by that.
Yeah, I know that's one area that Aziz and I used to struggle in all the time, was that I was the adult in the room in every relationship I was in. And then when I came back around, I didn't want to be the adult in the room with him. Right. And then I resented him for not wanting to be the adult in the room. It's like, you can't have it both ways. Right. And if it's truly a principle of yours to be the adult in the room, then that should carry over. Right. And I know that, you know, when you're around other leaders, that you're not going to lead in every area. But the one thing that we used to struggle with, and sometimes we do still, is that, like, I just want to, it's like, that's me wanting to, like, quote unquote, take a break. But he's like, there's no break in leadership. Like, what the hell are you talking about? You know what I mean? Like, get it together. And so it's like, I'm everyone's rock. I'm everyone's sounding board. I'm always the rational one. And then I come to him and I want to be just able to, like, you know, take my bra off and be irrational and just, like, not care. But it's unfair to him. And really, like, if I really truly believe that people should be more of an adult in the room or an adult in the relationship, then I should be that at all times. Like, you don't get a break. You know what I mean? And so I find that that's something that I used to struggle with and sometimes still struggle with. Do you have that same issue?
Oh, absolutely. I resonate with everything. I have a tad bit of a different perspective, though. So I do believe in taking a break. So some of my credentials are, you know, I'm a marriage and family therapist. I do this all day long. I have to be the adult in the room, especially when I'm in knee deep in a couples session and people are, like, wanting to rip each other's heads off. And that, I like, they don't rip each other's heads off, but I mean, it's really close to it. Like, the people come with a lot of emotion, you know, and I have to be the rational one. I have to be the one that brings it back. And so I can do that in my personal relationships. I have the skills. The issue for me, kind of like what you were saying, Jerry, is that sometimes I'm like, I can't always be on. And that's just not, that's not even, it's not that I don't want to take leadership. It's just sometimes it's like, I am done. And you know what? All of those things I used all day long, I used them. Like, I used them up. And now you're going to get the short version of me. And now you're going to get the grumpy version of me, or the worn out version of me, or the emotional version of me. Because all day long, and it's not just because of my job, we all have jobs, right? So you may be in a high stress position and you have to keep it together all day, and then there has to be a cognitive break. Like, our brains actually, some people can function at that all of the time, but I think they tend to burn out too. So for me, it's more of this idea of, I need a sanctuary and a safe place to not have to be so on. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense. But you know what I learned too? Like, so because of the struggle that Aziz and I used to have, he taught me that those people at work and the people that are not on the high priority list shouldn't get the best of me, right?
I agree with
yes,
that. I agree
from
with
a,
that.
you know, it's work. So from a HR perspective, I can't lose my shit. You know what I mean? Like, I got to keep it together, right? Mm-hmm. But they should still get it. They shouldn't get a better version of me than the people at home. So what I've learned to do is, instead of acting like a baby or feeling entitled to these feelings, I communicate it better. Like today, we'll give an example of today. Today, I usually prepare breakfast on Saturdays. We eat as a group, right? And I wasn't really feeling well. So I wanted to shortcut it. I was gonna shortcut it and just buy bagels, right? That's the easiest thing, instead of flipping pancakes, right? And so I got in the shower. I got, I was telling myself I'm on my way down, and I said, hey, and he was like, you know what, just come straight here. I'll go to the store because I don't really want bagels, and I'll make breakfast today. And I said, oh, okay. And I was willing, but usually old Jerry would have been like, this is what you get, and and I'm not feeling well, and I don't want to deal, and I wouldn't have even been open about me not really feeling well, and just he would have heard it in my tone or felt it when I walked in with my energy, so now I'm able to communicate it up front so that we can make decisions together. And he's not necessarily getting a crappier version of me. It's just I'm not 100% right now, but I'm not kicking his butt because I'm not 100%. Totally, and that goes way further than You know, he's like, well, like, if you're not up to cook, then why are you even here? You know what I mean? Like, you could have stayed home. You know, then becomes that conversation. So I had to learn how to, when I'm not my best, that I still need to, I wouldn't even say pretend, just be able to communicate that better, because it yields better results and it helps our relationship. Because if I would have came down bitchy, he would have been like, you should just stay home. Yeah. Like, why are you here? And then that would have caused a wedge in our relationship. It would have been a bad day, and that would have been the end of that, you know? So it's really important that, yes, we all need that time to decompress and that time to rejuvenate and all that other stuff. But before, I used to give my coworkers the best part of me and come home and like, I don't want to talk. Like, leave me alone. Yeah. But the relationships I have at home are being way more to me than my coworkers. Right. So I needed to learn how to balance that.
So for me, I actually have 2 days a week that are my really long days that I do nothing for nobody. And everyone knows. Tuesday, Wednesday is my bath night. Tuesday, Wednesday is my watch TV or take a movie night. Tuesday and Wednesday are my... So I've blocked that time out knowing that I just don't have the capacity, that I really am drained. And even if I pulled it from my bootstraps, like, it's just not enough. So I completely agree with that, of like arranging your life in a way that makes sense to you so that you can continue to be the adult in the room. And with my kids, they know, like, I'll tell them, I'm at my capacity. I love you. I got nothing left. I'm going to take a bath. You know, here's dinner and I'm out. And so that I'm not so that I'm not putting it on other people, because I had that same realization. It actually didn't happen that long ago for me, about 3 years ago. I just, you know, I'm like, I bring it all day long. I keep high energy. I do this. I'm in the room with every single person. And then I'm coming home like, and I had that same realization of like, no, that's totally not fair. And I actually share that with a lot of people now of like, oh, congratulations to your husband and family. They get the worst version of you.
Yeah, it sucks.
Like, yay for them. They've signed up for a lifetime and they're getting kind of like your crumbs, where we should be giving our family, friends, and loved ones the cake, and everyone else kind of feeds off of that a little bit.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So, I mean, like, I'm hearing both of y'all speak, you know, y'all did y'all little woman's talk right there. But I hear both of y'all speaking, and, you know, my perspective on it is the adult in the room is not something you turn on and off. It's something that you become. You know what I mean? You gradually become, because you graduate to responsibilities that you actually want. You know what I mean? Like, when you want to be a parent, you understand that it comes with trials and tribulations. You understand that it comes with a lot of development, a lot of turmoil, a lot of, you know, you giving of yourself. So you're ready to take on that responsibility. When you say, I want to be friends with somebody, you're looking at them, and once you give that friendship title, because obviously we look at friendship as not just an acquaintance, not just somebody that you see once in a while. Mm-hmm. Not even somebody you grew up with and you speak to once in a while. I would think that's more of a family member. But when you look at a friend, you are incorporating them in your lifestyle. You're incorporating them in your life. You're thinking of them and you're thinking of yourself at the same time. So, or you're actually saying that this person is ready to think of me, so all I have to do is think of them. Mm-hmm. So you show up, you know what I mean? And obviously with a romantic partner, y'all more intertwined. So you definitely show up as the adult every day. And a part of being the adult is when you also communicate when you're at your capacity and when you need them to do a little more. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's a part of being the adult. Adult is not always meaning that you're the person
you're a soldier.
That's holding up the relationship. You know what I mean? You're the person that's just communicating. The whole point is to be in a room with adults, with other adults. So like what you said, if I'm a marriage counselor and they're coming to me with issues, obviously that's your job. I wouldn't necessarily say that you're necessarily the adult in the room, but that is your position, to be the leader in the room. And you're the mediator in the room. So you got to basically take in their information and basically process it in a way where you can give it back to them to assist them, right? But when you're in a relationship with people that is a romantic relationship or is a friendship, which are personal relationships, you're feeding off each other.
Yeah.
So you being drained, I'm getting ready to go home and I'm getting ready to spend time with my friends. Like you said you take your decompressed 2 days and you go bubble bathing and watching TV and relaxing. Like I look at it like I'm going to go, I'm getting ready to go hang out with my friends, or I'm getting ready to go have a good discussion with my partner. And I think that's my relax. You know what I mean? Not saying that I don't need my alone time to gather my thoughts, of course. But I usually take that on my commute, or when I go for exercise, or, I take those little times, them little pieces in those moments, because, we don't have a lot of time, and I want my time to be valuable when it comes to this world. And working is taking so much time from our loved ones. I don't really have the time to kind of take those long days or the long hours off, but I do take the second. So we all in agreement on that. Like, being an adult in the room doesn't mean you don't need alone time, but it just means that you're always thinking of your responsibilities and doing what's best for the group as opposed to just for you.
So you said something, you had this one-liner quote that really hit a light bulb for me the other day, and you said, love should be a boomerang.
Definitely.
And I really had to sit with that. And I really think that really cycles back into what we're talking about here with friendships and relationships is
Definitely.
I really agree with Jerry, and maybe it's more of a female thing in a lot of ways, where we are the nurturers. We are kind of the mom, the friend, the best friend, the sister, the da-da-da-da-da, and the titles and the labels and the ways that we're there for people. There's a lot. And I know a lot of other women that can talk to that. And I'm not a man, so I'm not trying to speak for men. I'm sure that they do too. But kind of taking this back, where I've really been reevaluating a lot of my relationships of the boomerang. That's all. So if I'm always the adult in the room and I never get to take a break from making all the decisions or being the rational one, because you both know, I love fun. I love to have fun. I don't always just want to be, the grind, get it done, da-da-da-da-da. I want it to be a fun experience. So I do want to feed off of other people and going like, hey, how about you pick the place we eat, you pick the fun thing that we do, and we all do this together this time. So that I'm not feeling like not only am I the adult in the room, or the responsible one in the room, or the leader in the room, because that can get a little tedious for my friends too. Like, well, we are always doing what you want to do. And it's like, well, nobody else is volunteering anything. I just kind of happen to be the go, get stuff done person. So, right, kind of looking at all of these different things, if it should be the boomerang, I should be able to say to my friends and my loved ones, and even my children are older. I know you have a little guy. Mine are big kids now. And I just talk to them like regular people, there's no differentiation. So it's like, hey, those days when you're really tired and you're going to say something to me that's just going to make my head pop off because you can't be nice right now? I'm having one of those days. I'm going to go in the bedroom and read. I love you. I'm here if you need me, but I need some me time so that I don't act out or create issues. Right?
I think that's also being an adult in the room.
Yeah.
That's also being an adult in the room, knowing whether you're at your peak and you really need to, bring it down a little bit. Now, obviously, I'm not saying that. I think that's a good thing. I think that, your ability to relay that and decompress and make sure that you're your best self when you actually are discussing those things or spending time with your children is very important. But at the same time, what I'm saying is, if there's other adults, they prioritize fun too.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know why everybody hears, because we used to have this whole discussion with Drastic before you joined the group on him thinking, okay, love snobs, accountable love, principles, it doesn't mean fun.
Yeah.
It does mean fun. It means that you're surrounding yourself with people that you actually trust enough to have fun around. Because if you're having fun with people you don't truly trust or really don't have your best interests at heart, they're going to take advantage of your fun. They're going to take advantage of you.
You're going to just be fun.
They're going to take advantage of you when you're just relaxing. They're going to forget to build the relationship. You get what I'm saying? So we're talking about just the foundation of the friendship. Understand fun is not something that, we glorify, we prioritize. But what we're saying is build the relationships from the ground up, have that strong foundation. So when you're having fun, you're not looking over your shoulder. You're having fun like you're literally, the trust exercise where you fall back and trust the person to catch you without bending your knees. You should be walking around with people that you trust to catch you without bending your knees. So yeah, when you do have fun, you know what I mean? When you are having fun, number one, your fun is similar. Number two, you're with other adults, because that's what we're prioritizing, right? Other adults in the room. You want to have a circle of other adults, equals, and healthier relationships. So that's where, you know, being an adult in the room is big. It's also picking other adults to be in a room with.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? So you're not worn out, and so
do.
you don't see it the way you're seeing it. You know, like your vision is skewed a little bit. You're like, well, you know, I like to just not have friends around at the time because I'm tired. And I'm like, why are your friends not? Why are they not helping you decompress? That's the question that comes to my mind. Like, why are your friends not helping you decompress? Because Jerry's the same way. Like you said, I don't know if it's a woman thing, and I doubt it because I know women that are on the opposite end. But when it's a person, I would say y'all share the same understanding of dealing with selfish needs or selfish wants. Y'all want what y'all want when y'all want it. So that's what me and Jerry go back and forth all the time.
Well, yeah, I'm big. Like on a normal day, I'm not feeling well. I would have probably just stayed home because I'm like, we spend every Saturday together. That's what we have together. Like, you know, Saturday is the day that, you know, we don't work. Well, we're working on Lovers Group Journey, but we have that together. But not, I have a full-time job. Like, that's the day that we really could just chill, relax, have family time, you know, and do whatever we really want to do. But the minute I don't feel good, the minute I have a slight headache, the minute I have cramps, I'm like, so I'm not feeling good, I'm staying home today. And not even thinking that, hey, they may be looking forward to seeing me too. Is my cramps that bad? Like, I could probably roll over, get in an Uber and make my way down. I could be around people that actually could help me, like that can help make me tea, make me, you know, make sure I'm eating. Like, there's all these things that come with being around people. But my first thing is I'm staying home. Yeah. And yeah, that's we fight about that all the time because my first thing shouldn't be I'm gonna isolate myself. But that's what I think of. Like you said, you have a hard day. I have a long day at work, and yeah, sometimes I'm on the computer all day. I'm dealing with all types of events. Like, I mean, it's a lot, and I don't want to talk, right? I just want to lay down. But if I am building this life with other people, then I have to, you know, not even have to. I signed up to connect with them, even when I don't want to. I'm not going to be, you know, at 100% per se, but I shouldn't be shutting them out either. Yeah. And that's what we fight up. We argue about that quite a lot. I mean, we haven't had an argument in a while about it, but you see, I'm down here today. But the point is that we that's something that we do argue about because, yeah, I feel I have this sense of entitlement that, yeah, I want my bath. I want my time. And instead of stealing little pockets of time, I want it all. You know what I mean? Like, and sometimes it doesn't quite work that way. So, yeah, that's a constant struggle that we have. And like, as you said, I think there's more women like that than not. I mean, there's a few that are not, but I do think that as a woman, yeah, we do feel that this sense of entitlement because we have just so much create this so much, and you know, that we have so much going on that nothing else really matters. But when you take a step back, like as these challenges me, like, well, what do you have going on? Right? It's like, I'll come to him, I have a lot going on, so I can't do this and I can't do that, and we're just gonna have to schedule this and blah, blah, blah. And he's like, what do you have going on? And I'll list like 3 things. And he's like, you're killing me right now. So you're telling me that out of, like, you can't get other things done because of these 3 things? You know what I mean? So when you put things into perspective, or when you challenge to quantify what you really got going on, you really realize that it's all in your head. You're overwhelming yourself. I'm not trying to belittle what I do have going on, but I'm making it more than what it needs to be. And by isolating myself, I'm even making it worse because now I'm in my head. I'm not even bouncing ideas off of other people. I'm not getting their input, and I'm creating this narrative that probably doesn't even really exist. So yeah, that's one thing that you and I share, Christine. But yeah, we fight about that a lot.
And I mean, I don't really quite know the dynamics of what you guys do, if it's like community living or how you've kind of arranged your life like this.
Community.
Well, no, so basically we believe in the village mentality. So Aziz and I have been friends. So Aziz and I have been friends since, well, we met each other at 15, right? 15?
Yeah, we met each other at 15.
Yeah. I'm 42. He's 40. He's 6 months behind me. But
yeah, give the Reader's Digest version.
All right, sorry. So yeah, we've been friends for a long time. And we basically, our lives, we believe in the village and having village mentality. It's like, how could you have friends, or why should you have friends around that's not totally totally interconnected in your life, right? I shouldn't be raising kids alone. He shouldn't be raising his kid alone. Like, there's certain things that when we decided to sign up as friends, we shouldn't live these like separate lives. Like, we should be able to come together because things are always better in groups. So
Yes.
we decided that. So every Saturday we come together and we spend the whole entire day together, because that's the day that we have breakfast, lunch, and dinner together, and we go running and we do whatever we decide to do on that Saturday. And so we've been doing it for years, and it's, you know, people look at it as weird because we're not family, but we believe in, huh?
I said
it's bigger than family. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I love it. I think it's
but
beautiful.
we believe in village, and we believe that everything is better in a group. And we should never have a struggle as long as we have each other. So
yeah,
that's what we have.
So for you guys, one thing that really attracted me to this group and what you guys are doing is, I really just love how seriously you take friendship. And I can only imagine what you are like in relationships, real intimate ones, because, and I share your group. I try to get it out there. I tell everyone about it. I really believe these are conversations I have to have. And I love that you guys are doing it, right? So it's not a philosophy. It's something that you're living.
Yeah, it is. Mm-hmm.
And also, I had not really thought of it this way, and I've shared that with you guys before. And I think that for some of your listeners, this may be a really new concept. A lot of times we kind of still think of the acquaintance mentality of friends. I like to call them Group A, Group B, Group C. Group A is my besties, the people I could call at 2 a.m. Group B is a 50%. They might answer, they might not. And Group C is the people I see a couple times a year. We give a hug, how are you? And we go on our way.
Definitely.
But the way that you are really referring to friendship, I don't want to say it's a foreign concept, but I don't know that it's really mainstream by any means.
Of course not.
Well,
and so
no, because
it's challenging, but in a really, really beautiful way to me. And it helps me aspire to go, okay, I really do want to elevate my relationships to a village mentality.
Definitely.
We appreciate that. And we truly believe that love is a group journey. And yeah, it's not mainstream because we were taught that blood is thicker than water and friends come and go. And there's nothing really out there to support friendships and those solid connections. And even in romantic partnerships, you should be friends first, right? And that's why we decided to do Love as a Group Journey and put that out there and have those sessions for people, because no one's really supporting that demographic, right? It's like, you're friends with somebody, you're not friends with somebody. I was like, people will give you friends come around for a reason and a season, or whatever that cliche comment is, you know what I mean? And no one really has that support that they need to foster those relationships, because society takes those things for granted because they're not blood, and we want to change the narrative, because family are people we don't pick. Right? And we choose whether we want to have a relationship with them.
We want to get out of the society. When we're going to be accountable, we are society.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're right. Yeah, you're right about that.
Yeah, we make that decision all the time because we don't want to put in the work. And a lot of us do want to do what we want to do when we want to do it. So that's the whole point. Being an adult in the room is understanding, is changing your priorities to doing what you want to do. But what you want to do is actually build something that's supportive and something that's going to be amazing and great. And connect with other people. So everybody used to ask me, I'm a person that doesn't have intercourse unless I'm in a committed relationship, right? So my last time I was in a committed relationship was 8 years ago at some point, and I didn't have sex the whole time. And everybody's like, oh, how is this? It has to be hard. And I'm like, I do other things. I date, we fool around, but there's no, when I think of sex, I think of a ring and a finger and a lifetime commitment. It means I'm ready to commit to this individual. You get what I'm saying? For a lifetime. So I don't look at another approach higher than your word and your commitment and your bond. You get what I'm saying? So yeah, though we are intelligent human beings, we can justify whatever. So I fool around, I do other things, and I can justify that as being less than actual having intercourse. But through the experience of life, once you have intercourse, it becomes a whole different ballgame. We can do the whole other things, but once intercourse happens, it does become a whole different ball game.
Yeah.
Plus, children could happen. Plus, there's just a lot that can go on through having intercourse. So, yeah, why am I so serious when it comes to relationships is because it is a serious thing. Love is a group journey, and we are love snobs, and we believe love is the highest value. So when you saying I love you to random people and random things and random items, and yeah, we do look at you and we're like, okay, you love that? Like, that's what love is to you? The way you feel about something? Or is it a commitment? Is it something you graduate to and you're ready to now give everything to make sure you maintain the relationships and maintain that faith of love? So it's not a feeling, it's a lifestyle, it's a faith. So that's why we're big on love being a group journey. But you know, what's some of the backgrounds, like some of the relationships you had, like let's say a friend, the closest friend you had, like what was y'all bond like?
Oh, I have the most amazing best friend in the whole world. And she is my rock. She is my everything. We talk multiple times, just about every single day. If I need anything, she's my number one. And she really actually, if I'm just speaking candidly, she's taught me really what love is. And I know that I've taught her what love is too. And we hold each other accountable. We'll let each other go on and on and on and do our emotional processing. I'm a verbal processor for my emotions. I just have to hear myself say it out loud, whether it makes sense or not, you know, and I have to do that. And I come to my own conclusions, same for her. But some of the qualities of that relationship is we don't question each other's loyalty or love. We know they're there.
That's what's up.
You know, we count on each other. We both we'll cry on the phone to each other and be like, I don't know what I would do without you. Like, you are my person. And we're both convinced that since we have such a loving long-term relationship with each other, that we are capable of doing this with partners as well. We're just both having issues having that equal part.
Definitely.
There's a lot of push-pull still. There's a lot of come to the light. There's a lot of it's a lot of work at first. And because I just don't know that a lot of people are having these conversations, and maybe I'm wrong, you know, and I'm just point me in the right direction. Show me where these people are.
I don't think you're wrong at all. I think a lot of people aren't having these discussions because these, like you said, these discussions are taboo. It's a little deeper than most people want to go. It brings out emotions people really don't want to deal with. And it holds you, you know, it actually allows a person to hold you accountable. And really, if we can skate by, why be held accountable? If I can be with a woman that's going to allow me to cheat and come back home, why would I go after somebody else? You know what I mean? Why would I want somebody that has high standards? So we're actually shrinking your pool by actually bringing you into the fold of accountable love. We're not telling you you're gonna have a bunch of people, because we struggle to find partners. You know what I mean? In the same regard, not saying we don't have options. You know what I mean? Like, we don't have a problem with options, but narrowing them options down, it can be a problem because standards and having high standards is frowned upon. You know, we are very comfortable with the idea that, oh, well, you know, love is hard and relationships are hard and relationships take all this work and people make decisions for you and you got to fight through it. And to some degree, when we're having these discussions with people, they see love as pain. It's synonymous. And I'm like, no, love is something where you wake up every day and you think of the best interest of all the people you're around. Mm-hmm. And you're dedicated to making sure that they have the best quality of life and trusting that they are doing the same for you. Mm-hmm. So when you get up, let's say in Jerry's situation, she's cooking every Saturday, she has a Saturday off. And I'm thinking like, okay, you had a long week. You know what I mean? On top of that, you have other things going on. You're feeling sick. On top of that, like, I can actually process that. Why? Because her track record shows that she's dedicated to making sure she gets up every Saturday. But then somebody that blows it off all the time just because they can, right? That's a whole different understanding. I'm holding them to a different measuring tool. Why? Because track record shows they're not dependable. Mm. So all these people run, and I think this is the biggest part of not having these discussions. People want to not deal with what they did to people in the past. Mm-hmm. Yeah. They don't want to deal with it. at all. And I'm saying I'm taking inventory. I'm letting you know right from the beginning. What you do for me, I'm taking inventory. But what you do to me, I'm also taking inventory. And I'm always weighing them things out. Relationships are fragile.
Yeah.
It's not something like people believe in this concept of, well, when you love me, you love everything. No, when I love you, I love your strengths and I strengthen your weaknesses.
Yeah.
I'm not going to allow your weaknesses to dictate the relationship or to govern the relationship. You see what I'm saying? So that's what love is. And everybody says love is, you know, if they are not at their best, just accept. I'm not accepting that, because I'm going to come at my best. And when I'm not at my best, what do I expect someone that loved me to do? You know, step up. You know, or when you're not at your best for good reasons, they step up for you.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? It's not necessarily a weakness admitting that you're not having a great day because you're sick. But then it's also not having a great day because you put yourself in a position over and over again that you're not supposed to be in. So then you're not having a great day because you didn't listen. So there's a difference, and I'm measuring, I'm weighing, because we all are the judge and jury of our lives. So for people to sit back and say, I don't want to be judged, you're not ready for a relationship. You're not ready at all. You might as well be a free bird, go up in the sky, and just watch everybody else interact, because that's what you'll be doing.
Well, to add to that too, if you're not willing to advocate for yourself, you're not ready to be in a relationship either. And not advocate for selfish reasons. Like the one thing I learned about Aziz and admired about him, and also didn't like about him when I wasn't getting my way, was that he always knew how to advocate for himself. You know what I mean? Like when I'm not this is 100% you, like this right here, like, nah, I'm good. You know what I mean? Like, and that's admirable. Like to know that you deserve somebody's best and to say it and to own it, right? Like we're not really comfortable around people that, well, not like most people are not comfortable around people that can verbalize what they deserve and what they're not going to deal with. You know what I mean? And so yeah, just being able to advocate for yourself and and knowing what you want and not taking anything less than that. Those are things you need to also have a relationship, because if you can't do that, then you're working for the other person at all times.
Yeah, I'm laughing because you know, people have asked me about the group, your Facebook group, and I'm like, oh man, I'm like, it challenges me. Like here I am thinking I'm at this certain level, and I'm like, it's almost like I'm being fed dirty socks, or I'm like, I keep showing up though, because obviously self-improvement and really seeing myself clearly is important to me. And I think that kind of ties into what you guys are saying, is so often there's a lot of avoidance, not just even with other people, but with ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to see that I've accepted unhealthy, unequal relationships, because I would rather think I have 30 to 40 friends. So my journey the last week since the group on Monday has been, maybe I have 2 or 3 friends.
Mm-hmm.
That's really difficult for an extroverted, you know, I thought literally that I had 40 friends. And if you asked me 6 months ago or a year ago, I would have really stood by that and been like, no, I have at least that many good friends. And if COVID showed nothing else, it really helped kind of sift things out of who really took the time and who put in the effort, and even just for a phone call, just to connect, who was there. And that's my realization really this week, is where did everyone go? And I'm realizing that kind of in this age and stage of my life, this is my reality check. This is my time to learn this lesson. Apparently I didn't learn it well enough in high school. You know, that not everybody that hangs out with you is your friend. You know, some people want what you have, or they want to be kind of associated with you for personal reasons, or whatever the reasons are, whatever's going on with them. But the more adults that I talk about, like people that are really in their adulthood, right, that aren't on the borderline, that really know who they are, they kind of look at me like, oh, I remember when that happened to me. And I'm like, wow, is this a phase? Is this a stage of life in adulthood where you just kind of start having these realizations? And maybe some people didn't have that many relationships, but I really thought that I did. So holding up that different standard and saying, I'm going to be the adult in the room because I want to be, that's important to me, but I'm also going to seek out people that are in that same place.
Definitely.
And as much as I don't like eating Aziz's dirty socks, it does mess with my mind, right? Like, it's like, oh, I'm really settling in so many areas of my life. It's not one area. And one of my favorite quotes is, what you do one place, you do everywhere. What you do anywhere, you do everywhere, right? So if I'm settling over here, I'm settling over here too. And I'm not just gonna have like really high standards in one area and then completely, no. I'm definitely being a little bit too loose, too lax. I'm not holding even myself accountable to that. So I think I need to be asking myself, do I have the capacity for friendship right now? Because if I really am that busy, if I really am that tired, if I really do have all that much going on, do I have the extra energy to put into these relationships and foster friendships if the friendship means there's someone that's going to be in my life on a regular basis? So I think that goes kind of both ways, right? If it's that big of a responsibility, I should be challenging, do I have the capacity for that or not before I go in as well?
Definitely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I think it's important to really understand what you want as friends. I think everybody is ready for friendship. I just think that it's really narrowing down what friendship is. You know what I mean? If you look at friendship as, just another checklist, something else I have to do, something else I have to endure, something else I have to give, something else. Like, if you never think of it receiving, you never think of joy, you never think of the pleasure, you never think of all the things that they bring to your life. Yeah, I mean, I can see how, like, we all come out of breakups because we all been there, right? We're like, oh, we come out of breakups. Oh, everybody's just horrible. Everybody's a cheater. Everybody lies. And we all been there. Our minds, whether we admit it or not, our minds tell us, because I'm a person that's an optimist. I think, oh, now on to the next. You know what I mean? Like, my heart is broken. I'm in pain. I go through the process of it. I talk. Like, we could be talking about French toast, and all of a sudden I'm bringing up the person I was in love with. And you know what I mean? Like, we're there. It's very self-indulged. Like, you're not really there for your friends at that point. You're just indulged in what went on with you, right? But at some point, you take a step back and you're like, there are people still around me. Like you said, you have a best friend. If you got 3 other people like that in your life is set.
Yeah.
Why do you feel like, oh, like, am I ready? I think you're ready because you have the capacity to want. What you have to do now is, you're saying I'm ready. You're now, on Accountable Love Podcast. You started on the Let's Talk Relationships with the Love Snobs. Like, that shows you're ready, because what we're dishing, we watch our viewership go up and down.
Yeah, all the time. It fluctuates.
Because it's like, oh, I'm not willing to hear that. I'm not willing. I'm my own person. I'm not trying to hear that. And I'm like, none of us are our own people. We're molds. We're constantly being molded. So you're only who you are in the company you keep and who you're being molded by, and the information. If I'm watching ratchet TV all day, I'm going to do ratchet things. That's my capacity of information. I'm not an avid reader. You know what I mean? I watch TV and I read people. I assess people all the time. That's what I always wanted to do. That's what I always wanted to be. That's my lifestyle. So that's my focus. You know what I mean? I like, instead of words on the page, I like hearing things. I like seeing things. I like body language. That's really something I resonate with. Jerry reads.
I'm a reader, yeah.
All the time.
I love to read.
You know
all
what I mean? Yeah. Jerry's a reader. She talks to me about books all the time. My biggest thing is mindlessness, excuse me. Like, are you taking in the information from the book, or are you just talking to me about it? Because if you're not reading something that's going to help grow you or build you up or nurture your relationships, I'm always wondering why are people doing things. So when it comes to friendship, it is about a constant challenge, but you have to enjoy it. You have to enjoy the stress of being challenged, but you also have to enjoy the stress of having fun. Because when you wake up the next day and you're older, fun can be taxing on your body as well, as we all know. You know what I mean? So everything there's different forms of stress, and there's different forms of connection, and we have to find the forms that fit us. We can't just be comfortable with it's different. Is it healthy? Is it equal? We have to put labels on that difference. Well, they just think different. Doesn't mean I want to hang out with them.
You know, it's interesting. Like, you know, we used to have this group on Facebook, and we posted a question about, would you have your friends around your kids? And the majority of the people that was in the group basically said, no, my friends don't need to be around my kids, right? Not every friend needs to be around my kids. So then we challenged them with a question of, then why do they have the label friend? Why can't they just get the next level down like associate? Because not all associates, right, are around your friends. And they were like, no, they're my friends because I have friends for different reasons. Like I have friends to go out to drink with, I have friends to go to the book club with, you know, like, but everyone knows that their children are their prized possessions, right? And if you can't have your friends around your children, then why are they your friends, right? If you're dating a man that you think is gonna molest your kid, then why is he your man? You know what I mean? Like we're so quick to give labels, but not really think about what those labels mean. Because the minute you call somebody your friend, the minute you call somebody your boyfriend, that's an extra level of responsibility that goes into that. And you believe that they are good people, right? Or they wouldn't be so close to you. So they should be able to be a part of everything. And so it's funny how people, it's laziness. Like the people that know they're just friends. Oh, we're friends. No, there's levels to it, right? You're not my friend if I'm not inviting you over to my home, you're probably not my friend. If you don't know my kid by now, if you only see my kid on Facebook, you're probably not my friend. You know what I mean? Like, and I think if people really took the time to take a step back and think about who's truly their friends and who is an associate and who's a person, like you said, a person that I may see once a month, a person that I may see twice a year, like you put them in categories and then you build relationships based on what category they're in.
Yeah, I agree with that. Investing in the relationship on the level. And if someone wants to move up, you know, if it's a B friend and you want to move up, you know, I'm always telling people, I meet people and then I go, friendship is fragile. And in the beginning, I do believe you have to put a lot of time, effort, and energy into it. And those are my 3 words for everything. I don't care if it's your job, your marriage, yourself, whatever you care about will require your time, effort, and energy, period, across the board. And my philosophy is complacency kills. So I don't care if it's a friendship, your relationship, or even yourself, your relationship with yourself. If you're not constantly putting time, effort, and energy in it, it's like not watering a plant. It will die. Or at least that branch will die, or those pieces, that connection, that the buzz, right? The energy. And we feed, like Aziz said, we feed off that energy, but we have to be consciously aware of putting that in. So even when I'm in a new friendship, I will say something like that up front, like, okay, we need to make sure that we're scheduling regular time together. And even if that's phone calls, because if we don't feed it, it will just fade. And then you'll become the C friend. You know, you have potential for an A friend, but you'll become the C friend because it wasn't important. It wasn't prioritized. We didn't make the time. And then it's, well, that could have been cool, but it's just over now.
Definitely. I agree with everything you just
said.
100%. I agree. That's a good philosophy, man. That's good. Because, if people aren't putting forth that time, that effort, that energy, making it priority, that's why we're big on prioritizing and making sure that you have your priorities set. But, you know, I think another portion of not having these discussions is, you know, people don't want to prioritize. They don't want to hurt people's feelings. They don't want to, you know, have the hard discussions because it causes conflict. And as Jerry mentioned about 5 times, I mean, we have conflict on a daily basis.
Oh, you're coming at me?
Yeah,
5 times though?
You
just say like once.
We have conflict on a daily basis, and it could just be, you know, obviously we're talking about butter and toast correctly, but it's not about butter and toast. It's about maybe I'm believing that she's lacking the commitment in the relationship, and butter and toast kind of rock the friendship at that point. And she's like, it's only toast. It's only toast. And I'm like, it's bigger than toast. It's the fact that you don't show up in this area, this area, this area, and toast was the tipping point.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So you're always, you know, you get to a place where you're always avoiding labels.
Yeah.
And that's why we had the discussion that rocked you last Monday, is because we're like, why are we avoiding labels? Labels are the things that actually hold us to a standard. Labels are the friend
and connect us to the right people.
You have to commit to.
Yeah.
Romantic partner is something you have to commit to. Parent is something you have to commit to. Those are labels. Without labels, how are we truly who we are? How are we saying we know who we are and we can't express who we are because we're so busy ducking labels as opposed to finding something that sticks?
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, it's really good that you have the framework all the time. Like it's good when you say things, we can hear it, it's clear, you know, but we do employ all the time. Like, look at being an adult in the room, not as a job, but as a lifestyle. And it doesn't mean that there's lack of fun. Like, adults create fun. They also plan fun. You know what I mean? Don't think that it's, oh, I got to be on all the time. You have to be you all the time.
Yeah,
all
and that should be good enough.
Of you is to be you. So if you're like, I have to be on, that means that you feel that you're around people that require extra energy and they're not putting anything back. So we have to be in relationships that put something back into us.
Yeah.
And if we
your boomerang effect, that was the best metaphor. And really, when I think about my best friend, it doesn't matter what shape I'm in. She's here. Definitely. And we have fun and we cry and I sometimes, you know, whatever the case, it doesn't matter. Just, it's just being there. And you're right. In some rooms, if you're feeling like you have to be more, then it's probably, like Jerry said, it's probably more of an acquaintance.
Definitely.
Or an associate. It's probably more of a networking. And when you mentioned the book club and all those things, yeah, I was a part of a lot of groups before the world shut down and all these things happened. And I thought everyone there was my friend. And my bubble popped in that of like, they're my friends in that specific context, but they don't know where I live. They're not in my regular life. They're not really following up on me in between. So what would you call that then? Would you put that back?
Acquaintance. Yeah.
Associate. You know, I wouldn't even use the word friend.
Yeah.
Because one thing we always try to discuss with our viewers and the guests and things of that nature is making sure that you label something and that label has a standard. If I walked up to you and says, yo, you're amazing, you're gorgeous, you look great, and I go over to somebody you find that looks atrocious, and I'm like, you're gorgeous, you're beautiful, you're great, did that compliment just turn to a diss?
Right.
Huh? Did that compliment at that particular time, did I take from that compliment by giving that same compliment to somebody that you don't hold at that standard?
Mm-hmm.
So you always got to make sure that when you're saying things, the standard fits across the board, because if they hear you saying it to somebody else, they're going to evaluate it. And your word is becoming less and less to them if you don't really have that standard. So when you say, oh, I went to the book club with all my friends, your best friend is looking like, okay, this is how she values friends. I might have to reevaluate her.
Because when after our talk on Monday, I called my best friend crying, and, you know, Jerry was messaging me, are you okay? And I'm like, oh God, I'm so asleep right now. And I'm like, ah! And when I talked to her, I said, what I'm saying doesn't have anything to do with you. You are my person. And she said, I know, I already know. And that's what you were talking about earlier, that consistency. I know you're not talking about me. I know you're not putting me in the same group. Yeah. And I'm here for you because I can also remember when that happened to me. Mm-hmm. Right? Because sometimes when you're and you like people, sometimes like there's a popularity thing, just like high school, where I'm like, I know everyone.
Definitely.
But who really knows me? Definitely. And that was that boomerang. That's that second piece that was the light bulb to me of, if I can be there for everyone and I throw the boomerang out, who's there? And really sitting with that. So that's been a very powerful, I don't even know where it's going. It's just a brand new open wound where it's like, okay, what do we do now? You know, I'm digging in, I'm going for it. I'm starting to let myself have these realizations. And I guess for your listeners, I want to just like make it known that they're not alone and that like, it's not fun when if that happens to you. Right. And that you guys will help support what happens next. Right. Because that was where I was like, I fell kind of on my face and I'm like, what do I do now? I went from 40 friends to 2. Help.
Well, we definitely here to support any way we can. And like you
Absolutely.
said earlier, the work starts with you, but our work is not all about self-help. It's about building a community that actually helps you. You know what I mean? So like, we truly believe true self-help comes from the people you have around you and the support. Because when you have great support, then self is taken care of.
Absolutely.
And that's what we need to understand. But, you know,
That's
this
a
is
great
the
way
end
to
of
end
our
it.
podcast.
Yeah.
We want to thank Christine for, showing up. We know
Yes.
she had a little bit of emotional night, so we really appreciate her for showing up and having a quick turnaround.
Well, not even that. She's on the West Coast, so
Yeah.
her time is not the same time as our time. So she got up early for us, and we truly appreciate that.
Definitely.
Yeah, it was awesome.
So
great conversation. Thank you guys so much.
My name is Jerry, and thank you, Christine, for being with us today.
We are the Love Snobs. Enjoy.
All right.
Bye.
Bye.